All right, so my apologies. I have no idea where I left off. It probably was cranking and being unsuccessful. I am pretty confident we have enough compression to run, so it should run, so I'm going towards spark. That's obviously the easiest one to tackle first. Well, I mentioned before that I did actually pull the plugs. I'm getting spark on all 6 cylinders, surprisingly, but I just believe it to be weak spark or mistimed. This led me to post on a forum, get some really good information, tried to index the Magneto, get it timed right. There's an internal timing, there's an external timing for the Magneto. You got to get it number one, top dead center, and then you got to back it up, and it's a long thing. You have to have the spark plug fire 25-ish degrees before top dead center. So if you think of the flywheel 360 degrees, you get it to top dead center, and then you back it up a little bit past what you would say 25 degrees, and you come back to take that lash out of it. Anyways, I had an issue with spark, Magneto, something. If I was smart, I probably would have checked the spark plug wires first. You know, one hint would be is this is the color that it used to be. This is the color that it is now. So they're old. Generally speaking, you should replace them when they're that old. But I never checked the actual connectors. For whatever reason, I looked at the ends of them, maybe a couple, and they look good. It's hard to see. But 3 of them, all on the left-hand side, port side, were all like this. So this is probably one of the first things that I should have checked and or replaced. If you know your spark plug wires are 5 or 10 years old, it's been sitting outside, just go ahead and replace them. I did try to test these. I could not get consistent readings out of any of them. Oh, while we're here, these are the ends that go into the Magneto. Basically what they do is they put a rivet, and that goes into the kind of the spring cup of the wire cap. We probably wasted so much time by not checking the spark plug wires. But if you're having issues, if you know your spark plug wires are old, go and replace them. Or the options that I have are, I think about 35 bucks. You can go out, buy the spark plug wire set. So you'll crimp them. It's pretty straightforward onto the this end. But on the other end, like I just mentioned, you've got rivets and things like that. I'm pretty confident I could do that. So one of the guys in the forum was nice enough to offer checking out the Magneto for free. He, I guess, rebuilds them on the side or as a hobby or whatever. He also does rebuilds the spark plug wires. So I'm going to go ahead and have him do that. I could spend time, and maybe 3-4 hours, 2 hours, whatever, rebuilding these, maybe still have some issues. But I'm at a point now, I've spent so much time with the broken bolts, and I'm just going to have this guy on the forums who rebuilds them do it for me. So for, I think, 75, 80 bucks, he sells spark plug wire sets. So since I'm going to send the Magneto down to him, I want to have it ready to go back on the boat when it gets back. So I wanted to clean it up, paint it, powder coat it. When he sends it back, it should be perfect. It's going to be ready to go back on the boat. So that led me to pulling it apart and wanting to sandblast it. So here's the sandblasted parts there, a couple of them. The wire cap. And then this is the cap here that goes there, which leads me to this pile of parts. There. So I pulled the Magneto off. Now again, I want to paint this. It looks in pretty rough shape, right? So that means I got to take all of this shaft and everything apart. You have to have a little puller here, which we're going to try here in a minute. I don't know if I have the right size, but we're going to try to pull this shaft off, get it all out there, so we can powder coat this. He did highly recommend to paint it, not powder coat it, simply because you can't have anything, any powder coat or paint or anything in the internal part. So it can ruin the case that way. I still think I'm going to try to powder coat it, because why not? But once I pulled the Magneto out, this little impulse coupler here, this is kind of like a, I don't know if it retards it or accelerates the spark from normal in startup. So it's a little kind of a flywheel thing. And so When I pulled that out of the motor, all of this back here was pretty gunky and rusty. And I started picking at it and cleaning it, and I pulled the spring off, and I broke the spring. So I believe he's got these parts. If not, I'll have to order them. So yeah, this cap goes on the back. This spring is coiled up into that cap. So be very careful when you pull this apart. This little round part there sits into there, and then it kind of allows you to coil it. So the other good news is he knows how to put all this stuff back together. I'm pretty confident I had all this together right. It was timed right. All of that timing is important so that it spins around, and that tang there lines up with the right cylinder there and fires it at the right time. All right, so enough rambling. I got a rental tool from AutoZone to try to pull it. I think this is going to be too big. It's a 2-arm, 3-arm adjustable tool. So I'll see if I can get this off, impulse coupler part off the shaft, get the shaft out of there, then clean this up, powder coat it, get it down to him. While we're here, here's a few parts that I did powder coat already for the Airboat. It's just a matte black. Ignore the kind of the homemade looking part. I didn't do that, but the finish I'm very happy with. All right, so the stock arms that came with this tool, basically too big to get in underneath here. I tried using both of these pins, but either way, it would come down kind of like this at an angle. You kind of want it to be up underneath there, but there was no way to, just due to the length and everything, there's no way to kind of get it up underneath there. What I did do is kind of quickly make some arms of my own. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to hold. So keep your fingers crossed. Well, that's one way to get it off. So it worked. See, it's probably hot. We just took a small little piece. Hopefully I didn't damage anything or scar anything, but that's why I took it apart, or wanted to take it apart. Focus. Just all gunky. There we go. Ha! You there? All right, so here we go. I've got a freshly put together by someone that knows what they're doing, Magneto, and new spark plug wires. I think I mentioned this before, but I've spent so much time on removing the bolts that I wanted to limit the time I spent on trying to figure this out. The good news is I know how these work now. I'm fairly confident that I had it put together for the most part right. If it doesn't work after all this, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm confident that one of these two things here, and or the timing of this to the motor, is what the issue is. I wished I had tried the spark plug wires first to rule that out, but that said, this has gone through. It is good to go. This is not going to be the issue, at least for a while. So we're here. We're going to put her in the boat. We're going to leave it in the shop. Again, that's the jinx part of it. I want to see if it runs. I don't want it to run in here, so we'll leave it and see if she starts.